guess, to help viewers, potential investors, sort of get their head around what you guys are doing, because nickel is a funny thing. It's very, very geophysical bound in terms of the initial part of exploration. And last time we spoke, you talked about how you guys are sort of comparing your EM signatures to Kabanga and trying to find that relationship. And you've got this conceptual model, how you interpret it, that I saw in your presentation. Can you help sort of elaborate on that and just give us an idea?
Sure. Look, hopefully I won't confuse people, but I'll try and keep it as simple as possible for everyone's benefit. I'm not a technical guy, but I need to understand what's going on so I can hopefully share that information. A lot of the initial discoveries that were made in this particular region were based on surface expression. So they saw what was coming out of the ground. They then correlated that with a particular EM low. So they thought that they were the major ingredients to understand where they should be finding. Because the nature of the country rock there, you need to be a little bit more refined in how you actually come to those sort of conclusions. So surprisingly, very surprisingly, there hadn't been a lot of gravity that had been undertaken in this area. In fact, none that we're aware of to discover any of these bodies. So what we're trying to line up here is if surface expression is there, we look to that. If there is an opportunity to see an EM low, that's an important feature. A gravity density signature also gives you that level of additional refinement. And it's then the ability to see further down, which is why we're doing the heli, to see further down. So what we're trying to do is to use all of those very useful tools, correlate them, and find out exactly where we think we've got the greatest chance of actually hitting the massive sulfides. As you said before, nickel can be a little bit tricky. It's reliant upon a couple of different features that you see in how it's actually been placed and how it's been generated. I read an article the other day, and I don't know whether this is going to upset a lot of technical people, but you've got a situation where it's kind of, the nickel sulfide is more like oil on water or oil on vinegar, where you see that it's actually got those lenses that are appearing. Now those sorts of emplacements means that they're not everywhere, and you need to be discerning as to where you put the drill hole down. So this whole process that we're going through sounds like it's quite long-winded, and my explanation is quite long-winded, but it's important to understand that when you start drilling, that's the expensive bit. So you've done all of these other processes to get to the point where when you start drilling, you've got a greatest chance of actually hitting these nickel sulfides down there. And it will also benefit from the fact that we'll use downhole EM. So we can put the probes down, and that gives you a greater level of understanding at depth where we think we are relative to these structures. So it's a continual level of refinement of where we're putting the holes in and what we'd like to think we can discover. And we're reasonably confident. I don't want to be overconfident, but we've got some really good indicators that some of these structures are mineralised. I can't give any indication as what the scale of it is at this point in time, but we're confident that we're in the right terrain. As you can see, the proximity to Kabanga, it's not a neurology play. We've got the right rocks, we've got the right structures. We just now need to get the drill rigs going after we've done this EM, which will happen, as you pointed out. We were supposed to get the EM flowing in July. It's now August. Apologies, but we had a couple of little hiccups with regards to getting stuff across the border. That'll happen imminently. From then, 10-day program, 14-day program, continuous investigations on what we're finding, and that'll give us an idea where we start putting some drill pads down.